Good morning, folks. This is Ryan McVeigh with Zia Consulting. We're going to wait a couple of minutes for folks to join the webinar this morning. We'll get started here in 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hi, folks. Thanks for being patient with us. We're going to wait 1 more minute for folks to join, and then we'll get started. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan McVeigh. I am the Vice President of our ECM practice here at Zia Consulting. And this morning we're gathered to talk about enterprise mobility and as that applies to mobile content management. We're going to go ahead and run through our slides and a demonstration at the end. If you do have questions, please take advantage of the tool to add your questions into the chat or questions area, and we'll catch up with those at the end. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So this big number actually runs really well in a large audience, and since I'm talking to a virtual audience here where I can't look at you in the eyes, I won't ask my normal questions, but I would typically say something like, you know, what might you guess this number to signify? And the answer is this is the number of mobile devices currently running, or a few months ago running in China. That's a very, very large number, 1 billion mobile devices running in China. It is the world's largest smartphone market, China is. And the market share in China for Apple, as we talk about what we're doing here at Zia, is 16%. So it's a growing market share. There's a lot of devices out there. Certainly not to be ignored, and perhaps a clear indicator as to why enterprise mobility is really important. There are clearly a lot of folks out here in the industry and on their jobs that obviously are carrying around devices, whether they are a tablet or a phone, and have a job function to perform and can use their device to accomplish that. Some interesting statistics that surprised me as we were putting together this presentation today, and I was frankly a little shocked to find that it takes on the average 26 hours for a person to report that their wallet was lost. That's amazing to me when you consider that likely your driver's license and your credit cards and other important things are all in your wallet with your money, and yet if you lose your phone, you're going to report it within an hour. That's a pretty neat, I think, paradigm shift that we've seen in the past decade, and certainly not to be ignored as well. I also find it staggering that folks are so attentive to their devices, that they're spending as little as an hour and a half on the average to respond to an email, or will respond in that time frame. And similarly, will respond to a text message, something that push generated in a minute and a half. That's amazing. So, the fact that folks are carrying their devices near them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, really changes the game and the way people work. I certainly can speak from personal experience that that's the case for me, and being able to work when I am able, frankly, or at my own schedule is really important. I think we see that in the workplace, and we're here to help support that, of course. So, talk a little bit about who we are at Zia Consulting. We're a systems integrator and a software engineering organization. We're developing paper-to-mobile solutions in the marketplace, obviously here talking about mobility. And we're just briefly a 9-year-old company here in Boulder, Colorado. Have been in this space for quite some time. We'll talk today about our roots as they apply to mobility. But just so you know that we've been around for a while, and we've been doing mobile development for quite a while as well. We're partnered with, I think, well-known names in the open source community. Our focus has been and continues to be on systems integration work and development in this open source arena. And I'm proud to tell you that we are the partner of the year with 2 of our partners there on that list, both Alfresco last year and Alfresco. We're certainly going to continue to grow there. We earned our gold status as a partner with LifeRay in the past several months. We expect that to change and continue on. And specifically are working in the mobile space with all 5 of these organizations on varying levels. So you'll see as we go through the presentation, specifically as an Alfresco application that we're a part of, but we're having conversations with these other organizations on mobile as well. Products. Not only are we doing systems integration and implementing those products that you see from our partners, but we have products of our own that we are actively developing and have available in the marketplace. From a mobile perspective, and front and center there is the Alfresco mobile product. You'll see us talk about that here in a little while. That is actually born from the FreshDocs application, both of which are available in the Apple App Store today. You can go download now while we're talking. Similarly, Denver 311 is as well. We've announced a new application in the past several months called MobileWorkdesk there in the top right through our partnership with the company WeWebU. And in other areas, we're continuing to develop product offerings. So not only are we an integrator, but also a product engineering organization focused in the mobile space, as you can see. I'll spend a little bit of time deep diving into some of these use cases as we continue today. One of the questions that we get in nearly every presentation, certainly with every partner and prospect and client, is in what verticals do we work? People love to ask that question, and so we put this slide together to indicate we've done work in well, frankly, any recognizable vertical. I think you can characterize everything from government to education to financial to manufacturing to publishing, healthcare, and so on, technology, obviously. What I'll just add to that point is, in this world of enterprise content management and these various partnerships we have, it is clear that the patterns that we see in implementing solutions in these various spaces are repeated across these industries, across these vertical technology areas. And while the grammar and vocabulary changes on occasion from vertical to vertical, if you will, the technology patterns remain consistent. And that's certainly true in the mobility spectrum as well. And so with that said, if you can use your imagination as we're elaborating on enterprise mobility and content management today and apply that to your vertical, then I think you'll get something out of that and recognize that it's an area in which we've worked. So enterprise mobile CMS, what does that actually mean? And maybe a little bit more about Zia on this slide as well. Mobile CMS is, if you think about content management and the way you've traditionally interacted with a content management system, that has been through one of a fixed client or a web browser. And that has actually been changing reasonably rapidly in the past, say, 18 to 24 months, where various vendors, companies like Zia, as well as the content management companies themselves, have been producing mobile front ends to their applications, whether they're through the browser with a mobile skin to the application or a native application running on a device. It's clear, of course, that tablets are pervasive in the enterprise, only gaining traction. We'll talk about that again as we continue. It is absolutely a driver in the conversation. We hear consistently a need for content-related mobile applications. We're going to spend time today, this is a bit of an agenda, talking about why tablets, why that's important, what those apps are, what the mobile platforms might be that we're actively participating in developing. And then we'll show you a demonstration of an application I mentioned a little earlier called MobileWorkdesk. One more point on this slide, and we're just proud to say it, that this past spring we were recognized as a Colorado company to watch here in Colorado. It's a nice accolade for us having grown, and shows that we're doing nothing but good things here at Zia. Okay, so on to tablets. These are some quotes, of course, or some points from organizations like Morgan Stanley and Forbes and so on. There's a critical mass of U.S. tablet usage that has been reached in the past half a year or so. We're seeing, movements like bring your own device. We're seeing folks refuse to not work on their tablets, if you will, in their organization, and the demand is for tablet-based solutions to their working environment is high, and that's where we're a part. Morgan Stanley, for example, raised their forecast of tablets, and not just in fact, the usage number for how many people would be having tablets in the environment, but actually the scope of the way tablets would be used in addition, meaning that folks will really truly actually use tablets as the way they accomplish their job function. As a quick anecdote, I met with an opportunity yesterday, face-to-face, and those folks indicated to me in their organization of approximately 1,000 people across the organization that they're going to go site-wide with iPads here in just a few months. And they'll still certainly have laptops and so on in the environment, but are supporting everyone doing their job on an iPad. I think we're certainly going to see more and more of that. This is a reasonably progressive organization, but conservative in general. And so if we're at that moment in time where conservative organizations are rolling out tablets across the organization, we're certainly well past the point where applications are needed. We're transforming things like healthcare. There was an article recently for the Kaiser Permanente, I believe, who were explaining how they were providing access to folks' healthcare records and things like their file about their health, things like their prescription records, and enabling the individual participants of the health plan to manage their health care through mobile applications. think that's incredibly progressive. We're certainly going to see more of that. And again, if healthcare is leading the way, then any industry is right there as well. As a rumor, and I think it's actually probably confirmed at this point, that Microsoft will launch Office on the iPad in mid-November. Google recently acquired the company QuickOffice, which is a competing Office productivity suite, as well. And of course, the reason they're doing that is to bring those experiences to the mobile device, to the tablet. Interestingly enough, Apple will tell you that of new iPads that are purchased, 2/3 of them are going to enterprise users. I find that kind of amazing, and I'm not clear how they came about that statistic, whether that was through corporate acquisition or individuals who indicated that their use was also in business. But it's a staggering number, given that how many iPads are actually sold and making it to the market. So you're hearing us make this case, of course, as to why mobile and why this is important. I think we were pretty clear here. We're going to transition now into mobile apps for content management and what we're doing. The various specific use cases and why we're talking about mobility and enterprise mobility today. For us, of course, focused around content. We'll see these applications that Zia has developed. The one on the top left there is an application called Fresh Expense. It is an iOS-based application that is connected up with a free expense management organization, expenser.com, and we've developed a free app that allows you to scan in receipts and work with their service. It has been wildly successful and highlighted as a productivity app on the App Store in its past. You'll see us focus more on areas such as workflow-based mobile applications, enabling more content use cases around productivity, product-specific applications being mobile-enabled. For example, the two applications on the bottom there are Zia-developed applications. One is an Alfresco-based project management tool that integrates Microsoft Project into Alfresco. You'll see us in our future develop a mobile-based version of that application and exposing things like Gantt charts and task management right there on the device. You'll see similarly exposure of Episoft-based reporting, that Insight for Episoft tool that we've developed, show up on mobile devices. In our past, we've developed the Mobile 311 application for the city and county of Denver here in Colorado. For those of you who do not know, Denver is the 9th largest city in the country and has a rather large, obviously, population base that uses the 311 service. As we developed that application collaboratively with the city, we came to find that some of the use cases we were implementing were able to allow a constituent in the city, for example, to report something like a loose animal, and ultimately would dispatch someone from animal control without a human being involved on the city staff having to participate in that dispatching activity and tracking that ticket appropriately in their ERP system and allowing the individual to follow up. That has been a very successful use of mobility. It's obviously not specifically content management, but a case where we're seeing more and more of these types of productivity-based applications surface in the marketplace. Okay, so why enterprise mobile CMS? The things that we see, maybe most commonly are the C-level executive getting an iPad and then wondering why they can't actually do a certain thing with their job. They have a document that they have to review, a contract, for example, and aren't able to do that easily on their iPad. That comes up to us, I think, with some frequency. Certainly things like productivity anywhere. An obvious use case might be folks considering enabling their sales force to be more productive in the mobile environment. That's certainly an obvious one, but I think we're seeing more and more users that are not traditionally identified as remote or mobile, if you will, needing or desiring access to be productive outside of their workplace. And it's a big deal. And then lastly, I'll just add that, tongue-in-cheek, C-level executives are vain and wish to see their logos, their color schemes, and so on represented in their applications. And we'll show you some of the applications we've developed today. And some of the conversations we have with folks are around how to get those apps to look and feel like the corporate standard. So that's a use case that's going to continue as well. So other I just spoke to my own bullet, so I stole my own thunder. Other use cases around enterprise mobility, obviously the branding, exposing personalized experience and role-based experience, adding workflow functionality to existing applications, doing things like integration, as I described with the 311 application. These are all requirements that we see and why enterprise mobile CMS is important. Continuing along that line, let's not ignore the fact that there's a significant IT impact as you consider mobile solutions in your environment. The IT organization, we're aware, certainly has to roll out those applications, has to do things like device and application provisioning or support a bring your own device initiative in an organization. There's maintenance necessary. There's upgrade and support requirements. There's not this is not without a cost. That being said, we're certainly of the opinion that the overall cost at the end of the day will be lower for the organization based on the increase in productivity. Okay, so on to some specifics. What have we done? And we're going to talk you through these three applications for mobile CMS here over the next few minutes, and then we're going to wrap with a demonstration of the MobileWorkdesk product that's in development. Alfresco Mobile to start, and then following by Zia's FreshDocs offering, and then finally the MobileWorkdesk product. So let's jump right in. We've liberally borrowed some slides from Alfresco here, but I'll add that we've partnered with Alfresco now for a little over a year to develop the Alfresco mobile application in the Apple App Store. As I mentioned a little earlier today, that was the genesis of, or rather was born from Zia's FreshDocs application, which we'll talk about here in a minute. It is a specific application to Alfresco, providing unique functionality to their repository. We are working in collaboration with the Alfresco engineering team every day to develop the application and enhance it. We're actively, it's no secret, actively developing, I think, the fourth iteration of the application, talking about continuing that innovation over the remainder of the year and into next for sure, with lots of exciting new use cases. But the ones that we're highlighting today, obviously people move, people are mobile, so that's important. Alfresco has a collaborative user interface as it thinks about content management, and they use the concept of like here, but tongue-in-cheek, there are lots of collaborative connectivity points, if you will, to the mobile application that are either already enabled or going to be enabled as development continues. Clearly, there's publishing. That's a big part of Alfresco's share application and their collaborative UI today. It isn't completely a part of the mobile application, the act of publishing, but you'll see that change here in the app in coming months as well. And certainly part of that conversation is publishing from the Alfresco repository to mobile devices. Yeah, so we've talked about mobile clearly. On to Zia's FreshDocs application. So just recently we pushed out the latest FreshDocs offering. It's our 2.0 version of the product. We've got a fancy new icon we're nice and proud of. It looks great. And but that's not all we did. We did a lot, and in conjunction, of course, with the Alfresco mobile application, but from a feature perspective, we're supporting the obvious things, browsing, searching, and so on. It is a native iOS application, so it is not, much like Alfresco, it is not an HTML5 or a web presentation of a backing repository. We feel fairly strongly that users of mobile devices are accustomed to those devices and their use patterns, and they're accustomed to the way they interact with their device and their other native applications, and mirroring that in a enterprise CMS offering is the only way to gain traction. And so that's the approach we've taken. We'll go here and show you just a couple of screenshots. You'll see this one. This is a user who has browsed in and looked at a specific document. You'll see there that it's obviously a rendition from an iPad. It's actually running code that was screenshotted. And you can see that the user has selected the data sheet about Zia Consulting, and that preview has happened on the right. Just a quick little couple of things to point out there without a huge application deep dive. Clearly there's browse use cases, and you can see the other use cases there. We've got the ability to do things like, minimize the browse tab there on the left, or the browse panel rather. Of course, it supports things like rotational support. I can look at document metadata. On the top right there, you can see things like the traditional open-in experience. There's email, and an ability to do favorites and downloading and comments and so on if the backing repository supports it. This use case shows a brief example of a search that had been configured to look for the word Zia across content and names and titles. And so we haven't specifically selected a document there, so you don't see the preview on the right, but you can see the results of the use case of executing the search. In this particular configured application, you can see that there was a single configured repository, one of ours, and you can scope your search to one repository as you're executing. So had we another configured repository in the device, and you can have multiple accounts configured, then you'd see multiple connections listed there for the search. Excuse me. A little bit more. This is integrated with the interesting device functionality. So not only can you do things like creating a folder or uploading a document, but rather you can also do things like taking a picture. You can take video. You can record audio. We're integrated directly with the device. A few more things on FreshDocs 2. Of course, it's free and available on iTunes right now. We certainly support enterprise licensing for additional distribution models, whether that's a branded thing, special features, integration to other back-end services in an enterprise. We are providing OEM licensing and so on. So if this is something you're interested in, as you've seen, it is the basis of Alfresco Mobile. We are able and interested in continuing to do that work for other use cases, and are actively doing some. Of course, we can't talk about all those things, but you'll see it pop up again in other forms here in coming months and years. Okay, so a couple of slides on MobileWorkdesk, and why is MobileWorkdesk different from what we've shown you today. First of all, MobileWorkdesk isn't free, which is not why it's different. We're not just choosing to charge money for what's free, but rather we've really designed it and are implementing it for scalability, for thousands of users, millions of documents, connecting with a back-end repository. WebView has over 10 years of experience in the marketplace. We're in that same category as well. We're working with existing large customers, very, very large worldwide customers, to develop this in a way that solves their needs, is secure, addresses all the traditional security requirements you might expect from the most secure environments you can imagine. It will connect in with any CMIS compliant repository, so we're not scoped or limited to a particular vendor's solution. I guess clearly then it works on multiple ECM repositories. Continued other couple of things why it's different, and we'll show you some diagrams here in a second. It is a combination of a mobile application and a server component. That server component provides centralized administration and configuration capabilities so that you can, through the application of things like roles and security, control then what the user experience is from that centralized server component, and not have to redeploy an application, for example. Clearly that provides access to things like personalized content and This notion of virtual and semi-virtual folders is a concept of WeWebU's Open Workdesk product. We're supporting approval processes. We'll support full-on workflow integration. Everything about the application is role-based. Everything from the appearance to the behavior, the tabs you see, the bits and pieces of functionality that are exposed, and so on. So when comparing with we're having a small bit of technical difficulty where the slide's not advancing. Give us one brief second. Apologize for the technical difficulty. We'll just restart from that slide here in just a second. Looks like it's in the background there. Well, to kill the dead air, well,
my mountain's on.
PowerPoint is not cooperating, and this particular machine is not cooperating. We'll be right back, and what we're going to head towards is showing you an architecture slide, and I'll talk to the slide that you can't see yet, and we'll come back to it. The existing ECM applications on the mobile devices today take an approach that's one size fits all. And I'm not showing you my picture right this second, but if you can imagine that the pane of glass on your tablets today is the same for all users. The function doesn't change. The business user experience is consistent regardless of who you are. And that might be desirable in some cases, but I think it's a bit limiting. And does not ultimately address a real targeted business use case. And so as we've ramped up this conversation and talked about how we've approached this market and developed our mobile solution. We have really targeted a customized user experience based on users' job functions and roles and so forth. So we're see if we can get PowerPoint to recover here because I don't want to get too far ahead of the slides. Apologize again for the challenge. All right, so I'm just gonna continue. We'll worry about PowerPoint here in a second. Let's see what we've got. We've got I've got beautiful slides that would show you in my subsequent conversation as we continue. I think we're gonna get 27, 28. So as we go through the hurdle here, we're going to pull up a slide, making sure we're presenting properly. Okay, hopefully you're seeing the slide I'm looking at. We're going to get into the slideshow mode in just a second. Perfect, there we go. So this little bit of okay, so thank you for bearing with us. Sorry, we had a bit of a machine challenge there, so we're switching machines. So this is my fancy animated slide that describes the existing mobile ECM application, this one-size-fits-all approach. And what MobileWorkdesk does for you is this content for everyone type of approach, where you literally give color to the various job functions, and that combination of a repository with a server component fronting access to the mobile device will give you this personalized role-based experience. let's talk a little bit about where we're headed before we get into our demonstration. The roadmap for MobileWorkdesk is a release here in the next quarter. In the third quarter, we're going to have the app available for download. It'll be, a free-based application initially for your trial. Obviously, in conjunction with the server showing business logic, the role-based features that we've been discussing at length, this concept of e-files, which is worth a little bit of explanation. There's a notion there that repository filing and hierarchy structure does not have to necessarily drive all things about the content, and so there's a configuration aspect that allows a functional-based filing and exposure of content. And there's similarly search templates that are keyed into those various functions that will be exposed through the application. And what I mean by a search template is a pre-configured search expression type of query that gives specific types of documents as a response given user input. Similarly, of course, there's going to be things like favorites and safe searching, the multiple foldering concept, whether it be a physical folder, if you will, this concept of a virtual, which is a search-driven folder, or even a combination of those, semi-virtual, where there's both virtual and real folders interacting in one, is all offered as part of the server solution. All this is coming in Q3, of course. There will be some offline functionality. We do realize, of course, that users aren't always in a connected state. A really simple, obvious case is if you're on an airplane and there's no Wi-Fi yet, that we'll be developing offline and sync capabilities, and of course integrating with tools like QuickOffice and annotation suites. I'm just now noticing a typo. We're not going to wait 8 years to develop the follow-on release, but rather 1 quarter. So it is 2012 for MobileWorkdesk version 2, and that's going to just improve upon everything we've really just talked about, including workflow specifically for Alfresco. And so with that, we're shifting over to a demonstration. So we're going to show you a demonstration of the in-process development of the MobileWorkdesk tool running against a server component and configured against Alfresco. And so I'm going to hand over the conversation to G. Lee, who is one of the principal consultants and principal solutions engineers here at Zia, and has acted as our mobile architect for quite some time as well. And so, G, if you'll jump in and go ahead and begin sharing, and we'll show our demo here for a little while.
Cool. So my name is G, as Ryan mentioned, and I am a principal solutions engineer, principal consultant, also the mobile architect for some of the Zia's applications. And what I'd like to do, or what I'd like to present today, is sort of our state of the world with MobileWorkdesk. And so if what we have on my screen are some of the different applications that we've worked on or created. But I will go ahead and jump straight into MobileWorkdesk since that is our focus. All right. So right now I am demoing directly from my iPad, so we'll be able to see some of the more iPad or device-specific features, which I'll sort of quickly go over. Currently, right now on this tab that we're on, it's highlighted as documents, and you can see that we're connected to 3 different repositories, and that's one of the powerful features of MobileWorkdesk, is that it allows you to not only connect to Alfresco, but we can also connect to FileNet P8. We can connect to SharePoint and other CMS producers. For this demo, let's see. I'm gonna, like I was mentioning, this Documents tab is your standard CMS browser tab. However, we've started to add some additional features, and so let me go ahead and navigate into a folder where I have some permissions. All right. So here I am, I'm in a folder where I actually have permissions to be able to upload documents. And as a sneak peek, what I like to show is, we now have the ability to download multiple documents at once, or queue up multiple documents for download. I'll let those download. We also have the ability to create, upload, capture content, which would be, photos, documents, media as in audio or video. And I will go ahead and, let's see, take a picture. And here's our two presenters. Okay, we'll take a photo. Go ahead and upload this. I'll use this to upload.
We have to give it a name.
Yeah, we'll give it a name called demo. Hopefully, no, okay. And then we have the ability to also set image quality settings, among others. And we'll go ahead and I'll just upload this. So it immediately uploads to our content. Now, what's pretty nice is we also have the ability to upload multiple documents or photos. And so if I oops, wrong one. If I switch over to upload, choose from library, go into my demo folder, and I can actually upload, select many images or documents to upload. So hit done. And
you'll see a little bit of work in progress. As I mentioned before, the app is in development, so we've got a bug.
All right. What you'll see is we've actually uploaded all those images that I had selected. So, and that's one of our office dogs.
We are a dog-friendly office here.
And so this is sort of your standard CMS browser tab. If we jump over to processing, in processing, this is one of the mobile WorkDesk features, and you need the integration with OpenWorkdesk. Here we have sort of your inbox type of view, and so you have my documents, project documents, confidential documents, confidential projects, non-confidential projects, and these are all sort of based on your roles within the repository and other capabilities that you've been given within within OpenWorkdesk. And so, say we have my documents. My documents essentially is all your documents within the repository. Again, and then confidential documents are only documents that have been marked confidential. So there's a stricter permission set with these documents. If we open up non-confidential projects, now we have, it shows us a bunch of project folders that we actually have that we have permissions to and that are confidential. And so this is sort of the beginning of this processing tab. Here, you can imagine we'll also have integrations with workflow, other role-based features and concepts, et cetera. Now, so another feature, since we're on this topic of OpenWorkdesk, Mobile Workdesk, if I jump back to Documents, or to the Documents tab, and let's go to so we're in a corp org. I'll jump over to the Ventures folder. Actually, okay, sorry. So now I'm going to go to the Venture Deals top-level folder. If I actually create a folder here, we'll call it Mobile Project with OpenWorkdesk. Not only did we just create a folder, but we actually created an actual project. And so within this project, we now have structured document, folder structures or that represent a new project. And again, if we switch over to the processing tab and then look at non-confidential, we now have our mobile project folder. Next, The next couple features Ryan already sort of discussed, but I'll sort of run through them. The search tab is your ability to search any of your repositories that you have pre-configured. So if you click on the OpenWorkdesk tab, you can actually select which server you'd like to search against. When you connect to an Alfresco repository, you can actually search within sites. And so here, you're able to select different where you'd like to search. So we'll go ahead and go back to OpenWorkdesk, and a simple search here will bring us a bunch of search results, and we're able to view those search results directly from the search tab. The downloads here, earlier I downloaded a couple of documents. Here they are. Within my downloads folder, these are saved to your device. We have an integration to also allow them to enable encryption, so they can also be encrypted to your device. And lastly, if I jump to the More tab, Manage Accounts is pretty straightforward. It's where you would edit, your repository accounts that you have. And then another feature that we've done is we've also brought in settings into the application. And so previous versions of, say, FreshDocs, Alfresco Mobile, the settings were in the Settings app of your mobile device, so of iOS. But now we've actually brought in all those settings into the application, and so you don't have to switch context if you want to change settings. So with that, I will hand it back to Ryan. That's the demo of MobileWorkdesk.
Okay, thank you, G. So that's the end of our presentation today. We are ready to take any questions and answers. We're going to check and see right now if we have any, and there may not be any, and certainly that's okay. But if you happen to have a question right this minute, go ahead and use the question dialog or the chat dialog. And if not, then that's acceptable as well, obviously, and you can reach out to us. We'll bring up here our slide deck and show the final slide as well, so that you have our contact information. And we'll wait a second here for any possible questions. There you have it. So I'm reachable there at ryan@ziaconsulting.com. Looks like right this minute we have no questions. So hopefully that was clear and concise, and we'll be thrilled and happy to talk with you all about any enterprise mobility needs that you might have. Of course, you've got a taste of what we're working on here at Zia, and thank you very much for your time, and have a great afternoon.